Hello and welcome to Green River Media Election Center, your voice 2026. I'm Hines, and with the general elections underway, we want to give each candidate the opportunity to discuss their policies and platforms with you, the viewer. Today, I'm joined by District 24 State House Democratic nominee, Johnny Pennington. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Starting off, you are seeking to flip the District 24 from Republican to Democratic. Would you mind telling us a bit more about yourself and why you decided to run?
Yes, I'm 57 years old and I've been married for 37 years. And I've worked for the Department of Interior, and I currently are employed by Caverna School District. And the reason I'm running is we've been getting cuts, and the common man or common people of Kentucky, young and old, all they do is cut our social programs, cutting our schools, and our roads are a shamble and schools are a wreck. And I'd like to see the working class people and stuff get attention, as well as our GOP supermajority is given to the rich. And if they would give our small businesses the tax breaks they give the larger corporations, it would benefit our communities as well. Our communities are drying up. They're not getting any attention. They're more focused on the rich people getting breaks and making incentives and things for these data centers to come in and tax breaks, and letting our communities go just to serve the upper class people of Kentucky. And our vulnerable is going to pay the price. And I want to run to change some of that, hopefully, and fund our social network, our policies and programs and things like that will benefit our veterans, our senior citizens, our young children. Kids these days, they got the odds stacked against them when they leave the school. It shouldn't be that way. I can remember a time where it was a whole lot better. And I hopefully turn this seat back blue and get started on building our communities back like the people want, not what the rich want.
With that being said, if elected, what would be your first order of business in Frankfurt?
Well, I would like to push back on insurance companies and make policies for, like your auto insurance is high, especially if you're young. Our young, I feel, is paying the price for accidents they may or may not have. I think they need to reward good driving by giving a percentage basis of your premiums back to the people. That would help put money back into the pockets of our young people, make it a little bit affordable for them to go to work and have jobs, and working class people as well. I think we've been took advantage of by insurance companies, and the health insurance companies the same. Is it insurance company or is it a scheme? You pay your premiums, you pay your deductibles and co-payments, and the insurance companies get to pick and choose what they want to pay. If it's insurance, pay. You shouldn't have to ask the insurance person about having medical procedures that they have no experience in. If your doctor says you need it and you feel like you need it, insurance needs to step up and do their job.
Moving on to some congressional integrity. Throughout the country, many people have been campaigning for the enactment of term limits in Congress. Though this issue is being campaigned on a national scale, would you be opposed to seeing term limits down to the state legislation?
Yes, I'm for term limits very strongly, because that's how come we are in the shape we're in today by career politicians. Whether if it's state representative, I think we all ought to be on term limits, and I would support it. If I get up there, I would bring it up. I'd say pour it too. We need it.
Another major concern for voters in this state is the current handling of driver's license, or like the renewal of them. During the 2026 General Assembly, House Bill 162 and Senate Bill 7 were introduced with the goal of returning renewal services to the county level. Would you support further legislation to address this issue and restore local access?
Yes, I know GOP put this in effect back, I think, in 24, 25 to make these driver license centers. I thought it was a bad idea then, and I still do. Even though I know the governor wants to keep them the way they are right now, where you have to drive a long ways to get it, but I disagree. I think they'll be put back into the county. Not everybody wants or has time to drive and try to find, especially our elderly people and people that can't see very well. So I think they ought to be put back in our local courthouses.
On January 1st, the state's like income tax, it went from 4% to 3.5%. Do you fully support the legislative goal of bringing that rate all the way down to 0? If so, are you considering ways to achieve this goal that won't increase other taxes, such as sales tax?
Right. Way I see that, it's good. It's always good to save money, but you got to have a starting point on the income level of who gets this. The last one, yeah, working people like me, we're hourly people, I am. You only save just a little bit over a year's period of time. But the people that makes hundreds of thousands to $1 million a year, they save more than 2 or 3 of us make a year. So I think you need to find a level point there, a stopping and a starting point, because your state's still got to have money to operate. But let's say a 1% thing, it may not be much to me. I'm going to save a whole lot over a year's period of time. But you take $1 million corporation, because they all get it. They're making off big time with it. So I can understand why they're for it. It's not going to benefit us, but we're going to pay the price later on down the road for is money to fund your roads and things.
So the state is like the state economy is one of the biggest issues on voters' minds. In our surrounding districts, we are seeing the rising economy and for instance, the recent $76 million expansion with Tate Inc. in District 23, bringing in 400 new jobs to Barron County. If elected, will you work to bring that same level of industrial growth and investment into the 24th district?
Yes, ma'am. I'm for working people. I would love to bring in jobs for Greene County, Hart, and LaRue. And I would like to get in and work with the people, the young people. I don't care what party you are or if you're not even old enough to vote, to see what you'd like to see come to your community that would give our young people something to do during the summer months, winter months, or whatever. And if I'm easy to get a hold of, you can look me up on Facebook, John W. Pennington. I have a state representative one and a regular. But yeah, I want to work with the people. That's where it starts. It's time, like I said, the people to have somebody who's actually going to listen to them. I'll be a full-time representative. And I don't care who you are, rich, poor, whatever. I don't care if you're old enough to vote. You got my attention. And I want to work with communities as full-time. I want to be on the street, be involved. Not with just your political mayors and judge executives and magistrates. Of course, they're important. I work with them too. But the people that elected your local officials, I want to be in there with the people myself on personal level. I'm easy to talk to.
Bit of a side note, but we're also seeing a rise in the push for like AI companies, data centers, things like that. And this also using rural areas. So recently, you attended a protest to call out the further construction of the data centers, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to give us some insight on your stance relating to the construction of these data centers?
Yeah, there's really nothing good. I've watched videos and I attended a meeting with someone that was familiar with them out of Louisville. They consume so much water. And this one in Barron County in particular, I'm familiar with the farm that's going on. I worked it as a young man. It's sinkhole country. I mean, you drive across there. I've known someone that drove across there and the car went in one while they was driving. So you got all kinds of safety issues. It consumes a lot of water and electric. Well, even though it's in Barron County, it's going to affect anybody on Barron Green River Valley Water District because that's where that area gets their water. So there's going to be a lot of upgrades going to have to be done. It's going to come at the cost of the taxpayers if there's big water improvements being done. And I'm not against water improvements whatsoever, but when it's consuming, and this is supposed to be like a 2 million square foot facility. It's a hypersonic data center. The pollutants off of it, and that kind of volume of electricity, always radiation's around. There's just so much negativity. And the thing of it is, our GOP supermajority up here this year's assembly, and I think it was the 25 assembly, they said negotiated deals to lure them in Kentucky by giving them incentives and tax breaks for the next 50 years. And that's unacceptable because it's going to cost taxpayers money. If you're a Kentucky citizen, it's costing you regardless if it's in your community or not. And I think the health issues off that, it will drive the community. I think it will damage the park. Like I said, I was a former employee where I've been hired. I didn't go back this year, but I've been there since 2020. So I know the habitat in there and the damages, even though I know they can't say a lot about it. But I'm not for no data center.
Moving on to like healthcare wise, what are your thoughts on like the provision and like more so I'm gonna say for what is available, the again provision of IVF and like abortion, things like that?
IVF, I'm for it. You know, that's personal business if that's how they can come about having a child. And I'm not for abortion, but it's none of my business what you do at your body and between you, your God, and whatever. I would, if my wife was pregnant and it come down to abortion stuff, I would support and stand behind her. No matter what my personal feelings was, her life is just as important as mine or anybody else's. And I would support her in whatever she chose. It's, you know, I'm not running for this seat to be nobody's preacher, religious advisor, or anything else. I think that's between the doctor and the patient, sort of thing. So, pro-choice. You know, if you do it, that's your business. It's not mine. And so that's where I stand on that.
Finally, is there anything you'd like to say to your fellow Kentuckians? A quote, slogan, words of advice, or even where people can find you, more information about your campaign?
Yes, I'm Johnny Pennington. I'm running for State House 24. I'm just a common person like everyday Joe on the street. I'm a people person. I know how rough it is to make a living and provide for your kids. I'm a father of 4 and a grandfather of 7. And you can find me on Facebook, John W. Pennington. And if you see anything or you'd like to have to come to your community or meet with me, I'll be more than glad to meet with anybody. I just want to help people. You know, it's been a long time since you had elected officials that care about the people instead of corporations. And I think it's time that Kentucky wake up and start voting for people that's willing to help the common people, working people, your kids, and help your community grow. My town, I know for a fact, was pretty busy to be a small town. And in the last several years, I've watched it dry up till there's nothing left. And, you know, what's the next move? If we keep going the way we're going to have tumbleweeds rolling down Main Street, and it's time to put the power back into the people's hands. And if I win and I can't help people, then you can vote me out. You know, I hope I win because I like to have the opportunity to show the people what this job is capable of and who we're supposed to be protected. These elected jobs are supposed to benefit the people, to protect the people from corporate so they don't take advantage of them. We working people are getting taken advantage of for so long. And it's time to enough is enough and say the buck stops here and give somebody else opportunity.
With that being said, it looks like that's the end of today's episode of Your Voice. I'm Joel Hines, and this was Johnny Pennington. For more information on the 2026 election, you can find it on greenrivermedia.org/election. Thank you for joining us today, and take care.
Thank you.